Hello and welcome to This Date in History, aka TDH. Sorry about not having a show yesterday, it was still a little warm. I ended up going into the pool 3 times, got a wicked sunburn all over my shoulders. You can probably see that my nose is a little red here. I had a big old white beard and about another couple 100 pounds. I'd be Santa Claus, ho ho ho. Anyway, this show is all about the events that occurred today in years past, both recognized by actual historians, but mainly things that I personally find intriguing enough for me to bring to you. The source of this information comes from the smart device application On This Day, the icon of which is shown as cutoff prevention at the beginning and end of each episode. The music in the background is Translucent by Unison, which I found on the YouTube channel No Copyright Sounds, aka NCS. For links to the app, music, and anything else potentially interesting, check the underbar. Now let's get on with the show, shall we? Today is Wednesday, aka Wednesday, June 22nd, 2016. In 2012, a Turkish Air Force McDonnell Douglas F-4 Phantom II fighter plane, while flying over the Mediterranean Sea near Syria, was shot down by Syrian armed forces, causing the deaths of both the plane's pilots and worsening the already strained relations between Turkey and Syria. However, I can't blame Syria for their action. It was one of self-defense, and if countries don't want conflict, then don't have your military forces anywhere near the country in question. In 2009, a Washington, D.C. metro train traveling southbound toward the Fort Totten station collided into another train within the terminal. 9 people comprising of 8 passengers and the train operator died and 80 others were injured. In 1990, Checkpoint Charlie was dismantled in Berlin. In 1984, Virgin Atlantic Airways launched with its first flight from London Heathrow Airport. In 1969, the Cuyahoga River caught fire in Cleveland, Ohio, drawing national attention to water pollution, spurring the passing of the Clean Water Act and the creation of the Environmental Protection Agency. In 1957, the Soviet Union launched an R-12 missile for the first time. In 1954, in Christchurch, New Zealand, Pauline Parker and Juliet Holme murdered Pauline's mother because they believed she was in the way of their friendship. In 1948, the ship MV Empire Windrush brought the first group of Jamaican immigrants, all 492 of them, to Tilbury near London. This marked the start of the modern immigration to the United Kingdom. In 1945, the Battle of Okinawa came to an end. In 1944, U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed the Servicemen's Readjustment Act of 1944, aka the GI Bill, into law. In 1942, the Pledge of Allegiance for the United States was formally adopted by Congress. Also in 1942, Erwin Rommel was promoted to Field Marshal after the capture of Tobruk. In 1941, Operation Barbarossa began when Nazi Germany invaded the Soviet Union. Now I say this all the time, this was perhaps the biggest full retard moment the Nazis did. Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it, and you'd think Adolf Hitler, who fought in World War I, would realize a 2-front war is suicide, and a land war against Russia is double suicide. In 1940, France was forced to sign the Second Compiègne Armistice with Germany. In 1918, the Hammond Circus train wreck occurred in Hammond, Indiana, causing the deaths of 86 and injury of 127 others. In 1907, the London Underground's Charing Cross, Euston, and Hampstead Railway opened. In 1906, the flag of Sweden was adopted. In 1893, the Royal Navy battleship HMS Camperdown accidentally rammed the British Mediterranean Fleet flagship HMS Victoria, causing the ship to sink and the deaths of 358 of its crew, including the fleet's commander, Vice Admiral Sir George Tryon. In 1870, U.S. Congress created the United States Department of Justice. In 1839, Cherokee leaders Major Ridge John Ridge and Elias Boudinot were assassinated for signing the Treaty of New Echota, which had resulted in the Trail of Tears. In 1825, the British Parliament abolished feudalism and the seigneurial system in the British North America. In 1813, during the War of 1812, yeah, I know, a weird name for a war. Anyway, Laura Secord, after having learned of U.S. plans for a surprise attack on beaver dams in Ontario, she set out on a 30-kilometer journey on foot to warn Lieutenant James Fitzgibbon. In 1783, a poisonous cloud caused by the eruption of Iceland's Laki volcano reached La Havre in France. And in 1633, the Holy Roman Office in Rome forced Galileo Galilei to recant his view that the sun, not the earth, is the center of the universe in the form he presented it in after a heated controversy. First, Carson Daly, 1973, Meryl Streep, 1949, Brent Hume, 1943, John Dillinger, 1903, Samuel Morse, 1855. Deaths, Donald Featherstone, 2015. By the way, he's the man who invented the plastic flamingo. George Carlin, 2008. Fred Astaire, 1987. And that concludes the show. Once again, check the underbar for any links you may be interested in. Don't forget to rate 5 thumbs and subscribe for your dose of past events daily. I am AO Xander, and you are you. Toodles!